Hey folks, this is Waylon on Instagram, on Facebook. My name is Waylon Lewis. I work with Elephant Journal. I'm here with my cute dog, Redford. Only Instagrammers will get to see him because, hey, look, you can see him on Facebook. There he is. So today I want to talk about mentorship, which is a wonderful, important, fun, challenging, hard thing. It's like one of those movies or the Bible or something where like the young, super kick-ass, excuse my French, woman or man, boy or girl says, I want to do X. I want to do that cool thing. I want to be a craftsperson. I want to have a cafe. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to dance. I want to, start a big website with a video series and a podcast like Elephant. But I have no idea how to do that. Luckily, there's a thing called mentorship. There's a thing called reality. And in reality, everyone has done everything before you. And often they've learned a lot of hard lessons. So we're talking about the importance of finding a mentor and how. A couple little tips. But this could apply to mentees as well. For mentors. Mentors could probably listen to this. I've been a mentor and a mentee, mostly a mentee, meaning I've been mentored. So the magic, wonderful thing about mentorship is you can find people who've done what you've done, but not only are they technically doing what you want to learn, they're doing it with a sense of joy or dignity or caring about ethics or skill or elegance that you find inspiring. Do we want to close that? So it's not just like, I want to be a famous writer, I want to be a writer, I want to write for a living, I want to write, and then I find a writer, and then they tell me how to write, and then I'm a famous writer. I want to be a writer. I'm young. I'm super smart and talented in some ways. I'm an idiot and ignorant in other ways, and insecure, and I don't know where to start. I don't know agents. I don't know how to write a whole book. Whatever. And then I look for people who I'm really attracted to in terms of like what kind of writing they create. Who are they? How do they show up in the world? And, this is one area in life where if you're insecure, which almost always you are, hopefully, when you're younger, you're open. Like Leonard Cohen says, it's through the cracks that the light gets in. You want to be a little bit insecure. You want to be humble. You want to be hungry. You want to have some sense of supplicating for help. So obviously it's super important to find an ethical mentor, someone who actually cares about you. That's my number one tip, is most of the mentors I had in life were awful mentors. They sucked. They were great at doing what they did. I was attracted to how they did what they did, but they didn't care about mentoring. They didn't want to mentor. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. That means they don't want to be a teacher. They don't want to be a mentor. They're busy. They don't enjoy teaching. It's fine. No judgment. So you look for the people, maybe a little bit of judgment, because really it's incumbent on all of us who do have experience and who have had any kind of success to try to pass that on, to try and invest in other people. So eventually I kept asking and running around chasing after mentors. This was pre-LinkedIn, back in the faraway world known as the 1990s. It was a wild, barbaric time when we didn't have phones to stare at all the time. If someone was staring at their phone in the 90s, that would have been weird. So I found a couple people who actually had this childish, troublemaking delight and actually wanted to invest in the next generation. They saw me, they saw what an idiot I was, but they also saw my potential, and they were delighted by that. And they weren't intimidated by me being an idiot, probably because they remembered being an idiot themselves. And they'd had a mentor in their life. So they said, okay, I'll give you all this time, but maybe you'll work for me. Maybe I'll earn a crappy paycheck. I made much less working full-time than the lowest tier of my employees now. And I was grateful for it because I got invested in. I soaked it up. I was so hungry. I had grown up super poor. I had grown up without any kind of particularly male role models, although my mom was good at bringing around helpful men, like a summer camp counselor, a guy I could play basketball with. She actually was good at finding me male role models, but that's not enough. So I really sought that out. But men, women, both. I remember one day running around an entire campus for 3 or 4 hours just trying to get 5 minutes with one mentor. And I finally got it at the end of those 3 or 4 hours. And it wasn't because I was so bold. I really want to remind people who feel like perhaps you're a little introverted or insecure, that is not an obstacle. That's actually, you have this openness and you want to be filled. So again, it's so important to choose someone ethical. Are we having any questions? I'm happy to stop at any time for questions.
From Jeff.
Okay.
From Toronto.
Okay.
He's asking, what is the best way to approach a possible mentor?
So I think just very simply, the cool thing is, you know, you probably saw them doing whatever it is. Like maybe, Jeff, you could say what field, what the person was doing, but whether they're a professor or a writer or a craftsperson or a public servant or a nurse or a any kind of field, you see them, you're delighted, you're interested, you're motivated, a doctor, a dog trainer, whatever it is, and you have this delight, you have this curiosity. So just don't overthink it, just go with that delight and curiosity. You're not asking a boy or a girl or a man or a woman out on a date here. There's not this like big, like, will she, won't she help me out? Will he, won't he help me out? It's really very simple. You say, look, I'm super inspired by what you're doing here. I would love to learn some of that. I don't have those skills. I didn't grow up with anyone who had those skills, which is probably generally true if you're looking for a mentor in that field. Or you can say, I have some experience here and there, I've done this and that, and often what mentors will do is they don't want to waste their time on you. They don't want to waste their time on anyone. So what they'll do, if they're interested in you, is they'll say, do X, Y, Z, write an essay, blah, 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 do this, come back to me. So they'll ask you to jump through a few hoops, because speaking from the advice of someone who's old and weathered now, you know, you don't want to throw your training or your time at someone who doesn't really care. There's a lot of sort of privilege and taking things for granted and kind of dilettantism out there, dilettanteship. So you want to find someone who's actually like wants to be a vessel to learn this stuff. And it's not a vessel for my wisdom. It's a vessel for what was passed on to me. That's how society works. That's how generations function, is we pass on stuff, we receive it, we maybe take it for granted at various points, we learn it, we become masters of it, hopefully, and then we really appreciate it and what it's done for our life, and we want to pass it on to someone else. So, any other questions? There's tons on Instagram if you're looking at that. Maybe. There's lots of talk.
Yeah.
So we always want to answer any questions or comments any of you have, if you have any. So this is a little plug for Elephant Academy right now. We have a school at elephantjournal.com/academy, where if you want to write, if you want to find your voice, if you want to have a community with mentors, with peers from all over the world, if you want to kind of find your path, like it's not just about writing, it's about finding what you want to do with your life, what you're good at, what you love doing, what's of service to others, and what can pay the bills. That's the definition of Ikigai, or right livelihood. You can join Elephant Academy this fall, elephantjournal.com/academy, and we have mentors. We have tons of mentors who will come in. So if you're even curious, just go to elephantjournal.com/academy. But back to the general thing, and it's question number 2. No. Okay. So I was really good at finding mentors because I just went with my inspiration or my curiosity or my excitement about them. And I found lots of mentors, again, who weren't interested in teaching. And that's always disappointing, especially when they kind of pretend they're interested in teaching, but really they just milk you for like internship and free labor. But whatever, you know, life's too short to worry about it. So you just move on, you find someone else who is interested. So that's what I did. And, you know, I grew up without any business experience, without any understanding of money, grew up really poor, didn't have any idea. And I just found mentors who kind of gave me a sense, not so much about money. I never went to business school, but just about a general instincts for business. And the number one instinct you need in business is to know that you don't need to know everything. You can ask questions. You can find people who have done it before. You can find mentors, and you can ultimately hire people to do the parts that you're really bad at or uninterested in. Like, I'm not an accountant. I'm not good at that. I am good at managing money or strategizing in terms of my business, which you have to be because media is so tough. You have to like move one penny over here super carefully. You have to remember that you have a penny behind your ear and use that penny. You know, you have to be really mindful about it. But I'm not an accountant, so I hire wonderful, caring, trustworthy accountants, and you have to have an instinct for that. And a lot of that, again, is that skill of finding a mentor, which is just asking questions, networking, asking questions, networking. And if you feel, I'm just going to repeat this for the 80th time because I love this question from Vanessa. If you feel insecure, if you don't feel comfortable networking, like you go to a big networking event and you're like, have your business card and you're like scared to give it to anyone, that's okay because who cares? When you see someone who you want to be like them, you're inspired by them, a potter, whoever inspires you, this natural inspiration and curiosity will arise, and that will, it won't so much overcome any shyness or insecurity, it's just a totally different channel, you know? It's like you swallow food, you drink water, you talk, somehow it all goes through your throat, but it's not getting confused. So, you know, the inspiration, the curiosity will just arise naturally. All right, if there's no more questions, I don't see any. Big love to everybody. Thank you for the kind comments. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the Instagram comments. And have a wonderful day. And if so inspired, check out elephantjournal.com/academy. Big respect. Whoop.